What's up, YouTube? Been a while. This is not a haul. I have some books toward a haul. I'm taking the Reaper approach, and I'm spacing my hauls out a little more because I'm being a little more selective on what I buy. I'm not just buying everything. Been flipping a lot of books. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. There we go. Been flipping a lot of books. And because of that, I bought some pretty big collections, and their boxes are kind of piled up in my room I normally do my hauls in. So I don't have the room up there to do the hauls, so I'm doing the hauls in my living room right now, / dining room. So, or the videos, I should say. This is not a haul. So what's this about? All right, so little inspired by seeing a lot of guys do their own picks. Reaper does his picks, and then you have the Wednesday night chat group, and then you have the 9.2 crew, and all these guys, they do their own videos. So just something I've been thinking about. Just a topic that's kind of been on my mind. I want to talk about collecting villains. And villains tend to be worth less money than heroes because villains get defeated. So one hero takes a lot of villains, right? So there's more villains than there is heroes. But some transcend. Now, some of what I'm going to show you, as I go through the books, there's going to be a theme change, and you'll see it. So to start with, I want to start with the most recent current villain, the Red Goblin, also known as Carnage symbiote on Norman Osborn. So purely a spec book. People are really not buying this book because he's the coolest villain around. It's a spec book, but he has potential to be a great villain. Anything Goblin, anything symbiote is always going to be hot. There's always going to be a market for that. But he has potential. He has great potential. I think these books are still affordable. I think they're in the $20 range. 10 probably 10 for this one, 20 for this one. This one's got the better cover. I think this is what they actually credit for the first appearance. I don't know. They'll run, from what I hear, is a really good storyline, which that always helps when the villains create out of a good storyline. But let's talk about Marvel villains for a minute. I'm going to give you the two most, in my opinion, influential villains in the Marvel Universe. It's Doctor Doom, first appearance Fantastic Four #5. And Magneto, first appearance as the X-Men #1. Outside of those two, name another true villain whose first appearance is worth over $1,000. Now, Doctor Doom is, I guess, the Green Goblin. A couple of the SpiderMan villains, the early SpiderMan, the Dr. Ock, Green Goblin. But Doctor Doom's first appearance truly is his first appearance and is not shared with anybody else. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, high-grade copies, yeah, they're going to be over $1,000. Low-grade copies, I mean, I've seen a low-grade copy recently. I mean, it was a 3.5, maybe a 4.0. I saw it sell for $450 recently for the Green Goblin. I mean, I thought it was a good deal. I kind of regret not buying it myself, to be honest. Doc Ock, I've never priced. I couldn't begin to tell you. It's Amazing Spider-Man #3, so it's probably going to be a little pricey. But villains tend to not be as collectible unless they make that key villain. So some of these make these keys, and I'm going to talk why certain villains are really cool villains and why I think there's a little bit of collectability to them. So the first one I'm going to talk about here is first appearance of Crossbones. So Crossbones is a Captain America villain. He was featured in a couple different movies. He's dead now. His movie lifestyle is over. Correct. So why would I say that this is a speculation book? I'm not saying it's a speculation book at all. I'm saying if you're wanting to start collecting villains, this is a cool Captain America villain. He looks cool. He's got a cool backstory. He is a nemesis. It's basically like another super soldier. So that's always a good reads with him. His storyline's good, and he's affordable. So a pretty cool book to pick up if you're not so much for speculating, right? Not everything about comics is speculating. I don't own this because I think it's going to be worth a lot of money. I own this because I think it's cool to own the first appearance of Crossbones, right? And let's be honest, we all collect for what we like. I don't collect for what you like or what he thinks. I like watching the shows. I like listening to Reaper and to Nick and to Alex and to Gizmo and to QB Comic Addicts. I like hearing their opinions. Man from Beantown, all these guys, the Walking Jedi. I like listening to all their opinions on stuff, but I don't collect for them. I collect for me. It just happens that a lot of my opinions agree with them. But just because they may not pick this book up, and I'm not saying they wouldn't, but just because someone might not pick this book up because it's, not worth a lot of money and, it's not going to probably ever pop high, doesn't mean you shouldn't if that's something you want. I think Crossbones, I searched a long time for this book. I got to think about buying books in the wild. I don't like to buy online if I don't have to. I prefer the hunt. So I've had 3 copies of this. This is the nicest grade, and I kept it. The first copy I ever found, I found in a dollar bin at an antique and pawn store in the middle of nowhere. I'm buying this book all day long for $1. I don't care what condition it is. I'll make my money off it. But I think it's a cool book to own, and it's an affordable key. Another affordable key, and I do, that's right. What's up, Comic Bookist D? He says that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it, in my opinion. Another affordable, good key for villains, and I think this book now has potential to go high. Avengers number 196, the first full appearance of the Taskmaster. Couple things. One, he's got a long history with Deadpool. He's going to be in a Deadpool movie. I guarantee it. They hate each other. Their battle scenes in comics are pretty good. They're very witty. He's visually an awesome character to draw. People love to draw him. People love to read stories with him, and they love seeing him on a cover. It's a great cover. His first appearance, he's on the first appearance. This good first appearance to have. Not the best cover. Okay, but not the best cover. This, much better cover, right? Thus, it's worth a lot more than the other one. So this book, probably a high-grade copy, gets you probably around $100. My grade's not a high grade. I'd say mine's a 7.0. Not a high grade. I could use an upgrade, and someday I may get an upgrade. But good character. I think there's potential. I think if they were to announce an X-Force movie or a Deadpool 3, and they were to announce him as the main villain, it's a $200 book. At least for a short time. It might go down. Excuse me. But I absolutely think it's a great villain book to own. And I think there's a lot of potential there. Another great villain book to own, and I think there's a lot of potential here, is Silver Surfer number 3. This is the first appearance of Mephisto. Another cool villain. And, so I absolutely believe he's going to show up in a movie. I don't know that he'll show up as the villain to Silver Surfer, right? And I could see that. I could see, as now with the rights being all, I guess, moved to Marvel, and them doing a whole Fantastic Four, and then branching off into Silver Surfer, and then Silver Surfer having the villain of Mephisto. What I kind of wonder is, when are they going to get around to the Midnight Suns, right? When are they've already announced a Morbius movie, right? But when are they going to get around to another Blade? I guess there's been some hints at it. A Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, like a real Ghost Rider movie, not the pieces of shit movies they've already done. A real one. If the MCU decides to do a Midnight Suns series this book's going to pop. It's already an expensive book. Now, my book's a low-grade copy. I'd say it's a 4.0 at the highest. but looks great in Mylar, and it's the first appearance of Mephisto. And I think there's a lot of potential here. And again, one of the coolest, probably one of the top 10 most powerful villains in the Marvel Universe. Just a cool book to own. Relatively affordable. I mean, I paid $40 at my LCS for that. I didn't find that in a pawn shop, or I didn't buy that off of someone, or I didn't swindle someone at a yard sale. I mean, my LCS, it was a low-grade copy and marked $40. I bought it because I wanted the first appearance of Mephisto. Who wouldn't? Two more, and then I'm going to switch gears, and you'll see what I mean by that. True villains. Now, listen, guys. You've got Thanos. You've got some really expensive villains. There's no great high-priced expensive villain in here, okay? All of these books are relatively affordable, okay? Swindle at a yard sale. Well, so Amazing Spider-Man 238. I apologize. I didn't have time to put this one in Mylar, and you can see all that wrinkling is the actual plastic, not the book. But this has the tattoos. But this is another very affordable copy. Listen, if you get this book without the tattoos doesn't affect the story. It's just stupid tattoos. But you're going to pay $50 for a high-grade copy. Maybe $75. $50 to some is a lot of money. I'm not trying to downplay it. But this book's $150 to $200 high-grade copy with the tattoos. So if you want the book in a presentable but affordable copy, that's still a qualified copy, find one without the tattoos. So, anyway, very cool book to own. Again, the Hobgoblin was a major. I mean, pretty much from this book to the 298, 292, from this book to about 289, 290, 291, 292, he was the Spider-Man villain, right? The Hobgoblin. I mean, you're talking a 60, 70, 80 book run of the Hobgoblin. And, of course, he's come back over time. I mean, so when you talk Spider-Man villains, the greatest villains, I think everyone agrees. Number 1's Green Goblin. I think most people agree. Number 2 being Venom. He's number 3. You know, I mean, Doc Ock's cool. But Doc Ock's gone back and forth between being a bad guy and a good guy. The Vulture's a cool villain. Scorpion's a cool villain. The Rhino's a cool villain. But they're not the Hobgoblin. Let's be honest. If this was, if his first appearance, if you change nothing else but his first appearance and you put his first appearance in the 1960s, that's a $400 or $500 first appearance. But because it's in the I don't know, this is probably in the 80s. Yeah, 1982. You know, it's 150. You know, you could probably find a high grade copy for around $150 if you search hard. But I mean, for $200 all day. Now again, I'm not saying to everybody that's affordable. To me, that's not affordable. I can't go at the whim of a hat and go buy a $300 book. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's reachable, right? If you save, if you buy a few books, sell a few books, if this is a book you really wanted, you could have it. And again, he's not been in a movie. He's never been hinted at being in a movie. When he does go in a movie, and he will, and let's think about that with Spider-Man for a minute. Who's been in a movie for Spider-Man? Venom. He's getting his own movie now. The Vulture. The Lizard. Dr. Ock. Green Goblin numerous times. Sandman. Electro. And I can't even, and I'm not even, who was the last one was Vulture, so Shocker. Yeah, Rhino briefly. Yeah, they screwed that whole Rhino thing up, but obviously we feel like the Scorpion will probably be in the next one. What I'm saying is, eventually they're going to get to the Hobgoblin. I really, truly believe that. The question is, do they do them adequately? Well, that's always remains to be seen. And the one thing about all these villains is they're pure villains. Never been a good guy. Never been a good guy. Never been a good guy, but he's been fun to read. Never been a good guy. Too new to know. And the last guy that's purely a villain, and in my opinion, the best Marvel villain to date, because he's truly evil, Sinister Six, and they were supposed to do that. Poor Man's Comic is, hey, what's up, by the way, is saying Sinister Six. But first appearance of Carnage, again, this is a high-grade copy. I paid $80 at a yard sale, or not at a yard sale, at a pawn shop for it. I think legitimately you could get this for $120, a 9.6 graded copy, high-grade copy. Super happy. I've had 5 or 6 copies of this book. I've sold them all, except, and now I own this one. Made money on all of them. I'm going to keep this one. This one's going to be permanently in my collection unless somehow I get lucky and stoop into a 9.8. And I'm not that guy. So I'm not the guy that has to have 9.8s. I'm happy with the 9.6. I'd have been happy with a 9.4 or 9.2. I'm happy with a 9.6. For a modern book like this, and they're so readily available, the first copy of this I ever owned, I bought for 50 cents at a yard sale. Straight up. So, what's up, Doomsday Comics? How you doing, buddy? So, anyways, he is a sadistic villain. I kind of feel like, in a way, hear me out on this before you argue with me, he's Marvel's answer to the Joker. Yeah. He's not funny like the Joker. He's not cool and witty like the Joker. He's a dumb hick redneck, in my opinion. But he's a killer. And he's sadistic, and you can't reason with him. You can't get to him, and you can't try to talk to him and say, hey, listen, he wants to kill. Like, he gets off on the killing. That's his whole thing. With the Joker, that's his whole shtick. It's not that he wants to kill. His whole shtick is he wants to fuck with your head, right? So I kind of feel like, and excuse my language, but I kind of feel like he's kind of Marvel's answer to the Joker. They're not anything alike in how they do business, but in the fact that nothing you can do can get to him. You cannot reason with those two villains. Most other villains you can find something and reason with, but not these two. All right. Now, like anything, if you truly want to collect the villains, for the collectability of it, try to find the villains who are one day going to be good guys. So this next group of books are all villains who became, I love Deadpool too. These are all villains who became good guys. I think there's a lot of pop to this one. Amazing Spider-Man 194, first appearance of Black Cat. This is a very fine copy. And again, it's not in Mylar because I have it in hard plastic. Because I plan on getting it graded. I think it'll probably come back in 8.0. I'm hoping in 8.0, maybe higher. So listen, they announced the movie Silver and Black. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's Black Cat, Silver Sable. So both those books are starting to jump a little bit. If she makes the silver screen, this book, I mean, it's already a high-priced book, right? Like, so a very fine copy, if you see the price tag, it's $120. I didn't pay that. But, you know, at one point, this book was fetching really $200+ for 8.0s. I think it's come back to earth a little bit. But, you know, she's a sexy character, and there's a lot of really good artists that like to draw the sexy characters. So as long as artists like Dawn McTeague and J. Scott Campbell are drawing Black Cat on covers, she's going to command money for her first appearance. She's a cool alternate type of girlfriend to the old Mary Jane story that everybody knows and loves if you're a Spider-Man fan. But she started off as a villain. She started off as a nemesis to Spider-Man. She wasn't a nemesis long, but she was. She started off as a bad guy. The next one, again, it's not in Mylar, so forgive me, but Amazing Spider-Man number 101, Morbius. First appearance of Morbius. And I did not pay $110. I bought it on a 50% off sale, so I paid $65 or $55 for this book, which, looking back, was a fantastic investment. But I'd say this copy is 6.0. I'd say it's a 6.0. Again, He started off as a bad guy, ended up being a really cool bad guy. People liked to draw him. People liked to write his story. People started putting a personality to him because they were writing him so much. Because you can't just have a guy with no personality, right? Once they start getting a personality to him, bam. That's where you get guys suddenly become superheroes, right? He had his own book for a while. He was part of the Midnight Suns. I don't know much about Morbius, to be honest with you. I have not read a whole lot of his stories. But again, guys become, bad guys become good guys if they become popular enough. So these next two are two of my favorite villains of all time. My next four, there's four of my favorite villains of all time. So, of course, being my channel, Deadpool. Deadpool was a villain. He was a stone cold killer. He didn't care. If you read any of his earlier stuff, the stuff that Rob Liefeld was and Fabian Nicieza was writing and drawing, he talked shit to you while he tried to kill you. That's just how it was. I mean, he was paid to infiltrate the X-Force base, and the only reason he didn't kill Shatterstar is because nobody paid him to kill him. He wasn't doing nothing for free. I remember vividly, it's one of in fact, it might have been the first comic book I ever read where he's watching Shatterstar work out for over an hour and says, "Oh, really impressive. You really go." But, by now I've figured out 13 weaknesses to you. And he goes down and lays waste to him. But he doesn't kill him. Knocks him out. Could have killed him. Chose not to. He got popular because he looks cool. They gave him personality. And then with personality, he gets his first miniseries. If you're going to have a miniseries on a guy, you don't want that guy to be the total bad guy. And he starts to become a little bit good, a little bit good, a little bit good. Now he's the good guy again, right? Who's unpredictable, quirky, and funny. And then they made him kind of a slapstick humor kind of guy, which I don't like. I'm sorry about the glare, guys. I don't really like the slapstick humor side they've given him. But overall, he went from being a hero to an anti-hero, or a villain to an anti-hero. And again, if a villain becomes too popular, inevitably, they try to make him somewhat good. Magneto's another perfect example of that. But so's this guy. Amazing Spider-Man 300, first appearance of Boom. Venom. Doomsday Comics. I just bought my New Mutants 98. It's a 9.8 from Contender. Nice. Good job, man. I thought when I bought mine, I was told that they thought it was a 9.6. I didn't get it pressed, and it came back a 9.0. With a press, it would have come back a 9.2. So I was a little disappointed, but yeah, it's all good. Slab, that's good. That's good, Doomsday. Congratulations. One of my favorite New Mutants run is my favorite run of all time. I own it. I'd own 10 runs of it if I could. But again, why am I bringing up this thing? If you're speculating villains, look for villains they can turn into heroes. Heroes always are worth more money than villains. But a villain who turns into a hero, like Venom, like Morbius, they tend to be worth more money. Plus, you can't deny, in comic book collecting now, when you're talking about movie money, you can't deny the effect of the movies on these books. You just can't deny it. Yeah, there's peaks and valleys, right? But when the movie's all done and the book settles, it's normally 100 to 150 higher than what it was prior to the movie for a major character like Deadpool. I mean, Deadpool was a $200 book prior to them even talking about a movie. They announce a movie, 600, and once the movie's done, 350. So, Hawkeye, I don't remember Hawkeye being a villain, but I didn't read the books back then, and I'm not versed on Hawkeye. Last two of my favorite books in my collection. Iron Fist number 14, the first appearance of Sabretooth. Now, Sabretooth was basically Carnage 20 years before Carnage. Yeah, Hawkeye does become Ronin. That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. But so this book, if you watch any of the or if you read any of the current X-Men stuff, Sabretooth's a good guy. The first time they flirted with him becoming a good guy was in the Age of Apocalypse, that I remember anyways. You know, there's a good point that the comic book of Steve just made up. You know, look at the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, right? Mystique was a villain. No, she's not. And now she's not one of the originals. What, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, all villain, and now they're not. So, but Sabretooth was always a cool character. He's, again, visually cool. Especially once they matched him up against Wolverine. Like, forget about it. Like, this is Wolverine's arch nemesis. I don't care who else they make or say, this is Wolverine's arch nemesis. Nobody else. This guy. This is the #1 nemesis to Wolverine. Well, him and Cyclops. But anyways, he started getting popular. People started loving him. Every book, back when I first started collecting, if Sabretooth was on the cover, it was worth more than if Wolverine was on the cover, because Wolverine was on every cover, but Sabretooth wasn't. Especially if it was a Sabretooth Wolverine cover, forget about it. Big money back then, you know, in the early 90s, you know, when I was collecting. But now he's one of the X-Men. Why is that? Because he's a cool character. Also, I think it's partly because Wolverine was out of the picture for a while. He was supposedly dead or whatever. But, so yeah, they always turn him to good guys if they're a really popular character. And the last guy, he's gone back and forth with being a good guy. He's mostly a bad guy. Mostly. Probably the #1 villain book I own. X-Men #12, first appearance of the Juggernaut. I'm Juggernaut, bitch. Probably I'd say 4.0, 5.0 copy. I mean, it's a nice looking copy. The red really pops on it. But yeah, it is a sweet cover. Thanks, Doomsday Comics. But I just absolutely love this villain. I think he's a great villain to own. And listen, there's a lot of villains, but there's not a lot of great villains, right? But being an X-Men guy, he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the top 5 X-Men villains. I mean, you got the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He was never a part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, to my recollection. But, so the top 5 villains for the X-Men, I mean, obviously Magneto's #1. I'd probably put Juggernaut #2. And there's a lot of little villains in there, but I'd put him up there, you know, #2. I'd say he's in the top. I'd say Sabretooth's in the top. I'd say Mystique's in the top. The Blob, another top X-Men villain, you know. The Brotherhood's, you know, obviously their arch nemesis team against team, so that's kind of cool. That was something neat about the X-Men that I don't really think the Avengers had. The X-Men went against other teams, and it wasn't just the Brotherhood. They had Freedom Force, which was like another version of the Brotherhood, but they had the Acolytes. They had the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. Apocalypse is another good Marvel villain who's very affordable. But that was kind of cool. I don't really remember the Avengers having a lot of teams that they went against. So, but anyway, so I appreciate you checking me out. I hadn't done a video in a while. So, real quick, my last video, I showed some books that was going to go up to auction. I actually got offered a decent amount of money for them, so I took it. The auction kind of fell through. My schedule wasn't conducive to when the auction was being run, so I just couldn't do it. My son was having surgery, so I couldn't do the auction when they were ready to do the auction. And you know, the guys were great to me and understanding, and I apologize for it. But so since I wasn't doing the auction, I ended up taking the buy it now price that a guy offered me. So I am still running auctions on the Facebook site, Comic Book Lovers Buy Sell Trade Auction. If you're looking for a Savage She-Hulk #1. All right, Doomsday. I currently don't. So I don't have. I have one, but that's my personal collection. I don't have one for sale. But if I come across one, I'll make sure to hit you up and send you a message. But anyways, guys. So my next video should be the end of next week, Sunday night, and that'll be my MegaCon haul. So I'm going to MegaCon on Thursday and Sunday. I'm going there with the sole purpose. That haul might be, well, I already have a few books that'll be in it, but it might end up being one major book and just a few small books I have right now. So it might be a small video, but it'll be a major video if I get it. But I'm hoping it's going to be a very good video. So things I have on the horizon in the beginning of August is the Tampa Comic Con. So my next haul video will be after MegaCon, will be in August. So there'll be no June, probably no July. What my Facebook handle? Oh, I don't have a handle for Facebook. It's just my name, Aaron Smith. So after the MegaCon haul, I do I always do my top. Every year I'll do an updated top 50 books in my collection video. I haven't done my free comic book day haul video. I did not get any of the free comics from Free Comic Book Day. My LCS had 15 artists, and I spent most of my day and about $500 total between grading fees and commissions. I spent $600 getting stuff done. I will have all of that in a video and of what I got done when I get the stuff back from grading, which like a month from now. And I got some really cool stuff. Yeah, I kind of went over. Well, okay, so in that $600, I got 3 books graded. One cost $70 to get graded. The other 2 cost $55 a piece. So you got to think $180 of that $600 was in grading fees. I spent of that $600, so that's what, $420, right? So that other $420 went to commissions. I spent what, 51, 52, 304 commissions, and then I had a couple small commissions. I had a lot of commissions. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 8 commissions done. So, and some pretty awesome artists. I had a commission done by Don McTeague. I had a commission done by Graham Nolan. I had 2 commissions done by Graham Nolan. One done by Tom Rainey, and another done by Mike Perkins. So I had some really cool commission stuff done, and I'm going to start doing a lot more commissions, I think. I really enjoy having them. And for the most part, it's just on Free Comic Book Day. I don't go to the major cons and do commissions because, they want $1,000. You got 80,000 people there. They don't need to spend the prices. But when you go to Free Comic Book Day, a person who normally charges $500-600 to do a commission might do maybe not as good of a commission as they would normally have done. But I'll tell you, I had Dawn McTeague do a commission. She's normally going to charge you $400 to $500 for a commission, and she right now isn't taking. She's got a 3-year wait or a 2-year wait on commissions, and right now she's not taking any commission orders. If you don't know who Dawn McTeague is, guys, you got to check her out. She is phenomenal in the fact that she's not done major book. I mean, she's been on some books, but she's not like had those big covers and stuff like that you guys know on the major. But oh yeah, Comic Book Estate met her, super talented. She is super talented. She's super nice, super talented. She's a hardworking mother, wife, and she's great to the customers. She has You know, she seems like a very she's beautiful person outside, but she seems like a very beautiful person inside. And the whole time, people are coming up and they're just in love with her. I mean, Graham Nolan was there, the creator of Bane was there, and everybody was going to Don McTeague. Nothing against Graham, he I'm sure did well too, but Don McTeague has a serious following. And anyway, I was able to get almost pretty much a full page commission done for $55, and I think that if I wanted to sell it, and I'm not going to, I think I could get 250, $300 no problem for it. And it's awesome. She did a phenomenal job. And I mean, I asked for a little tiny like head on the corner of one of the books, and she ended up doing the whole book. And I'll tell the story when I do that video. And that video, because it's going to be at least a month. That'll probably be my June, a video of mine in June. But I'm going to start trying to do more of these volumes where I just have a little bit of a rant and ramble, and hopefully one day I can figure it out and get people to talk with me. So, guys, at that point, it's time for me to go to bed. So, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Collect what you like. Don't apologize for it. Happy hunting, guys.